YouTube. I'm gonna talk a little bit about properties, and then I'm going to answer this if at all it's the question, how to change grid line dimensions from inches to millimeters. I'll tack that on at the end of the video. Now I'll try and make this really quick because I just woke up from my slumber and I don't have the thunder. Okay, so first of all I'm gonna hit the numbering button, and I'll tell you why in a second. So after numbering, this column here has received an assembly number of B, prefix rather, and the prefix single part of small b. Now naturally these, you want them to have a C for a prefix to represent column. Now if you have a structure way bigger than this is just my little project house I'm trying to design. If you have a structure way bigger than this, you have a lot of columns, and it's hard to pick out each one and change its properties. So I'm gonna real quick demonstrate how to isolate all of them, and if you've been following closely you already know this from my previous video. So using your project browser, you go to query, and before I do that I'm gonna check what that is. That's HSS 4x4x516. Now I'm gonna go to my project browser, hit query, and go to the beams, steel beam, and I'm gonna query all the HSS. In this case they're called rectangular hollow section, I believe, and 4x4, which is square, and I'm gonna select the 4x4x516 there, and I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna call it, and make sure you give it the proper name here, HSS 4x4x516. Hit OK, and now you can see these are all selected. All the HSS are selected. See now, so I can also turn everything off and just leave those on, and since they're in red, they're highlighted in red, you can use the to palette there to select all marked objects. When they're highlighted in red means they're marked. Okay, so after highlighting all the marked objects, I go to advanced properties, right click, advanced properties, and I want to change the row model to column. So change it to column, and I'll tell you the significance of doing that right away. So now each of these have a row model of column. Okay, now I'll deselect all those and I'll turn everything back on. Now when I numbered, they came out the prefix B. Now to change your prefixes, you go into prefix settings, excuse me, user, and go to default, and when you hit default, make sure that is selected there and that is checked off, and then now you can change the prefixes of all the columns. So all the columns on them to be called C. So you hit beam, expand that, and go to column. Oh, I already named all of them, so I want them to be called C. You can change that to, actually I'll change the single parts to small c. You can see they're both capital. I'll change that one to lowercase c. Okay, so now you're gonna see how that makes a difference when it comes to numbering. I'm going to click OK, and when you go to the numbering, I already explained the settings in here, so but it's pretty much straightforward. Just look at the screen and copy that, and then I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to renumber everything. And already you can see here one that was called B6 old part mark has received a new mark number of C6. Now we're going to just manually double click a couple of these to make sure. So double click that one, and you can see it's the capital C and small letter c. So the row model is important when it comes to numbering. You can go into the prefixes and change, and it's not just for columns. You can do it for plates, beams, angles, whatever you need to have a standard naming prefix name for. And you only have to do this once, and if you keep the same settings, it should be automatically there. So now I change all these to C for a prefix, and of course those ones will also require a C, but I won't go into that. I've already showed you how to do the process. Now another reason why you want to change the row models of objects is for queries. So I'm going to select query, and I want to select all the parts in the model that have a row model of column. So I'm going to go to objects, select steel beams. I'm going to go to naming. So if I select steel beams, now it selects all the beams, like including this one, all the beams in there. But I want to narrow down my search even further, so I'm going to go to naming, row model, and change that to column. Column, and I'm going to click save, and I'm going to name these columns. Okay, and then click OK, and now you see the columns are highlighted yet again. So we've done the same thing we did with the HSS, but this time we used a row model. And it's important to use row model sometimes, because if I had changed these two, actually I'm gonna change them. I think I've got a little bit of time on my clock here. First I'll select them both. Advanced properties, naming, change the row model to column here. Okay, and I'm gonna deselect those. I'm gonna number it again, and make sure you use the number each time you change something in the model. You want to number it, especially if you're closer to creating documents. So see, this one has changed to C. Let's check that one too. Yeah, that one's changed too. Now what I was going to show you is, if I go now and hit the columns, these are now also involved in the columns. So previously I had the HSS. I queried with the HSS, which just gives me the actual HSS, but now I can query with the row model, and it gives me all of them that are upright and standing up. And that is a little bit about the properties of the beams. Now moving on to the question about the inches and millimeters. So at the beginning of the project, you wanna go new, and here this is where the magic happens. If you hit millimeters, then you're gonna get a template that starts in millimeters. If you hit this ASTM, you're gonna start a template that's in inches. Now, and this is also important. Say we draw a beam here, okay, and we number it. Okay, I won't even bother with any of that, just number it, and it's been given B. Okay, fine. And when you go to create a drawing, close that, drawing styles, and I want to create a drawing for this particular beam here. So I'm just gonna use that one. Okay, select it. My thing is a little slow, so oh, it's crashing. No, it's back. So I numbered that, and I'm gonna make a drawing for that. Everything is right with the word. Click OK. Select the beam, right click. That was the wrong one. I'm gonna go single part. Okay, and then here as well is also where the magic happens. Now if you click select a prototype with DWG here, it's gonna it's I mean with AS it's gonna be in inches. But if you scroll down further and look at these templates with for millimeters, then your dimensions are gonna be in millimeters. I think this affects, because I have not explored it very well, but the prototype affects the way your measurements come. I think I've had a couple problems in between when I've chosen that and I've tried to dimension in millimeters and it won't work. So anyway, we're gonna open that anyway, and document manager, we're gonna just make sure it's in millimeters. Yeah, it is in millimeters. So it's important to have the prototype of the drawing in millimeters if you're gonna use millimeters, and the other prototype you're gonna use inches. A little bit longer than I thought, but YouTube.